Hello everybody, welcome back to the James Lawrence Allcott channel. Frank Lampard has been sacked by Chelsea. Wow. I will give you my thoughts on this. I'm blown away that they've actually gone and done it. Let's have a look at the statement and then I'll give you my thoughts on it. So the statement is as follows. Chelsea Football Club have today parted company with head coach Frank Lampard. This has been a very difficult decision to make and not one that the owner and the board have taken lightly. We are grateful to Frank for what he has achieved in his time as head coach of the club. However, recent results and performances have not met the club's expectations, leaving the club mid-table. Fair enough. Without any clear path to sustained improvement. Fascinating. There can be never be a good time to part ways with a club legend such as Frank, but after lengthy deliberation and consideration, it was decided a change is needed now to give the club time to improve performances and results this season. Roman's had a word, by the way. Roman and Lampard, who supposedly have always had a very, very strong relationship. This was a very difficult decision for the club, not least because I have an excellent personal relationship with Frank, there you go, and I have the utmost respect for him. He is a man of great integrity. And has the highest of work ethics. However, under current circumstances, we believe it's best to change managers. On behalf of everything at the club, the board, and personally, I'd like to thank Frank for his work as head coach and wish him every success in the future. He's an important icon of this great club, and his status here remains undiminished. He will always be warmly welcomed back at Stamford Bridge. The club will make a note of a comment. This time they're going to look for a new head coach. Now, my thoughts on this are, this is why I couldn't be a chairman. Because this decision is soulless. This is a soulless decision. Now, soulless and incorrect are two different things. Two completely different things. It is soulless for me. And if you're a Chelsea fan, I've got to look at this. You've got to look at this now. And we can never, ever be sucked in again and think that there is any kind of romanticism or understanding or empathy or leeway with a Chelsea manager again. This is the one. Because this is Frank Lampard. This is the greatest manager Chelsea have ever had. And again, that's not right or wrong, really. Yeah, it's maybe a little bit more painful for Chelsea fans. And I guess other people will look at it and go, oh, hang on a minute, have a heart here or give someone an opportunity. And you've seen that in other huge clubs. Arteta, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, lots of calls for both those managers to lose their jobs, the understanding that they're learning on the job, that they're not up to it, that they're inexperienced. But both of those managers at the moment, Arteta has been given enough time to find a different way. Now, I think that time will return with Arteta in terms of the pressure, because he still needs to make some signings to improve that squad to get them to the area of expectation that Arsenal have. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, I think what this shows, because there is obviously another article that I'm sure a lot of you guys have read already, and if you haven't, make sure you go check out. This is not a sponsored video, but The Athletic's superb, so go and check them out. There's a very, very long article discussing all the key points here. I'll just give you these main bullet points. Lampard's relationship with the influential director Marina Granovskaya deteriorated. Ralf Rangnick was offered the job. Calls were made in recent weeks to look at Nagelsmann. Leicester games are the tipping point. Lampard shook players' hands and said that was it. Piszczek involved in talking to new stars. Agents as form dipped. He had to talk about them about the fact that, was he going to still be the manager? Some players complained about lack of tactical instruction. That sounds like it was Kepa in particular, and not being spoken to for months. A desire to re-sign Declan Rice. Annoyed his bosses. Again, this is all alleged stuff, of course. The Athletic, I think, are generally pretty strong in what they put out and not too hyperbolic. Of course, Declan Rice was released as an academy player. The dressing room felt the manager showed no empathy and were hurt. There's an understanding that he maybe didn't talk to them enough. He's quite distant. And Frank Lampard would have walked out anyway because he wasn't happy with some of the moves that were being made here. So The Athletic dropped this today and highlight that there's two very different stories on this one. Because, look, take all emotion out of it. 9th in the Premier League right now. 9th. It's not good enough, is it? It's not good enough for this Chelsea team with the amount of players that they brought in. But there are other ways to spin this. Chelsea were top of the table in December. It's January. So that feels a little harsh, right? Look, you look at the form there. Very, very poor. Very, very poor. But they're also 4 points off or 5th, where Tottenham Hotspur are supposedly having a really good season. You know, very, very tight Premier League season, COVID, all these different things, right? So there are highs and lows. And look, the football's not been good enough recently. But I think this is just one of those ups and downs that these kind of managers were having. That said, if you draw it out on a piece of paper and you go, who's the better manager, Frank Lampard or Thomas Tuchel? Thomas Tuchel is a better manager. So, although it's not the kind decision, is it the correct decision? Quite possibly. The broader problem I have with this, and it's something that's also in this article, was that Lampard was looking to, and I guess that there's massive hypocrisy, or it's two sides of this coin as well. Lampard was talking about the culture and creating the right culture, a culture where people take responsibility for their actions. His frustrations supposedly were that too quickly they were into crisis mode, and they were in a crisis mode and they were quick to blame others. The problem with Chelsea is that it's kind of chicken and egg a little bit, where if you keep sacking managers, people are going to keep looking for that storyline. And this was the one, for me, this was the one where you go, Frank gets this job for a long time because he's a club icon, as Abramovich has said himself. But you've got to be strong enough to give him that time. There seems like there's some personality traits that Frank Lampard has that don't mesh well with management. And actually, again, you look at Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, maybe this is where sometimes he can be a bit of a punching bag for a lot of people. But never turns on his players, seems to have a good relationship with his players, a fatherly relationship with his players. He's emotionally a bit more tactile, it would seem, than Frank Lampard. Frank Lampard he kind of didn't take his own sauce, if you know what I mean, right? Sounds horrible, doesn't it? He, in press conferences, has blamed the players, but I think he was looking to get them to take responsibility. The thing where he's fallen down here is that he should have done that in private. He shouldn't have done that in the media, and that's another thing that I think the hierarchy at the club didn't like, the fact that they've spent all this money, because the transfers are a reflection on them as much as it is on the head coach, and he's not able to get the best out of them. And a really amazing thing that I think that was in the article, the Athletic article, that I think rings true, is that there's one thing having these players and it's not clicking just yet. The second one is that feeling that you don't want to, you've lost the kind of the stomach for the fight in terms of getting the best out of them. And that's, again, there's so many different parts at play here. So for Lampard, it's like, you need to step towards me. But I think the players wanted them to step towards them. But then I think you've got a whole culture at Chelsea where everyone just blames everyone. It's ruthless. So ruthless. What will you see when Tuchel comes in? You'll see a bounce. You'll see Werner starting to score goals. You'll see results going up. And you'll probably see them getting to the Champions League. You'll probably see Chelsea better next season as well, because Tuchel will probably get the best out of assets that are absolutely integral to Chelsea moving forward, the likes of Havertz and Werner. So, is it the wrong decision? No, from a base level. But is it a soulless decision? Yes, in my opinion. We'll never know if he was up to it or not, and we'll never know just how tense and awkward the situation was at Chelsea, because you've got a lot of big personalities there, and again, you have a culture there that suggests that the manager will be the first to go. And generally in football, that's starting to change a little bit. The concerns you've got to have is that some of Frank Lampard's difficulties were on the signing of players and or not signing of players. Thomas Tuchel has had problems with hierarchies in the last two jobs that he's had. So as much as he's a good manager, then surely those moments will come as well where he has those frustrations. And who's then going to get chopped? It won't be the hierarchy. It will be the manager. So it will be same again and same again. Groundhog Day will continue for Chelsea. But the final thing that I would love Chelsea fans to tell me is, how do you feel? Do you understand it? And is this just something that, you love the club and you love the players, but deep down, can you truly love the managers anymore? Because unfortunately, even your greatest ever player wasn't given a bit of a break. Really. And again, is it the wrong choice to sack him right now? 9th in the league. There's a better manager available. I think that's all understood. But why sign him in the first place? Why keep him in the job in the first place? You kind of almost need to stick with the consequences of that for a little bit longer, in my opinion. Still in the FA Cup, still in the Champions League. You know, the form could have changed in the league as well, just like it had done initially, just like it has done for the likes of Solskjaer and Arteta. Fascinating one. Let me know what you think about this one, both, and let me know, you know, if you're a Chelsea fan, I want to hear from you. How do you feel about this? And if you're not a Chelsea fan, how do you feel about this? Let me know in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video, then hit the subscribe button and hit the like button as well. Massively helps. And I'll see you in the next one.